What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Lennox Lewis. Big up, England! Big up! Lennox Lewis had this surprising statement about Deontay Wilder. And this is what he said. He said Deontay Wilder cashed out on the day of reckoning. Ooh. He said... It looked like Wilder wasn't even focused on the fight, Lennox told Ring Magazine. He said, I don't know, I don't know what he was focused on mentally. He said it was the money. They paid me. I wasn't really ready, but I came out and gave them this for a little money. It doesn't matter what way it goes. I'm prepared for a loss. I'm prepared for a win. Let God decide. He lost his spark. Trying to box at this stage is a mental thing for me because there are certain things you are supposed to learn on the way up. When you've knocked everybody out on the way up, then the mentality becomes if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Lewis says that if he does fight again and doesn't retire, Wilder should consider adding a new coach to his armory. He said, get with someone who can make those powerful punches even more lethal, pointed out the 58-year-old. He should be working on other stuff like a great uppercut, a great hook, surprise them, your opponents. They're looking for the right hand, hit them with an uppercut or a hook. He says, I don't think he was totally serious with that fight because you can look at the punch stats and they're not close to the Fury fight. This is a lesser man because his weight is not there and his punch count is not up to par. Undoubtedly, he didn't take the fight that seriously. The Bronze Bomber weighed in the second lightest of his career. He didn't have a bulk to deal with Parker's work inside. It's now up to the Alabama fighter to decide what's next. Those are the words of Lennox Lewis, and let me counterpunch. First off, was it a money grab? Well, obviously, I believe so. I think it was a combination between money, of course, ego, and I think those are the two things, money and ego. Because like if that's true, if Deontay Wilder wasn't ready for the fight, if he wasn't ready for that fight, okay, then you have to take into account that he shouldn't have been talking like he was talking. Like, you know, when Ellie Setback came into his gym, because he's allowed into those type of gyms and stuff like that, you know, he was always, you know, kind of sitting around him and, you know, Malik Scott and they're just chilling or whatever, doing the interview. You know, you can tell there was no kind of urgency anyway. You could tell he was working out, though. You know, he was sweating and he had a towel and he was, you know, wiping his brow and stuff like that. So they were doing something. But the question you ask yourself is really, what were they doing exactly? Like, what did they work on day after day after day? Like this was like a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like he goes in at 9 and leaves at 5. You know what I mean? That's what I got the perception of when listening to him say the things that they do, the sparring, the pad work, those type of things. You know, I didn't really see a lot of cardio and all that, to be fair. I didn't see any of that. But yeah, it looked like he was doing something. But so if he really wasn't ready, if Wilder wasn't ready or wasn't prepared and he just did it for the money, I think, you know, he should have got prepared. he should have got prepared, or don't brag letting that ego, you know, get the best of you saying that, oh, I'm this and that because, you know, I've created this reputation. That's the third one, reputation. So money, ego, and reputation. Okay, because he had the reputation of knocking everybody out, and until Joseph Parker, he's either knocked everyone out or down in his career, right? So that, you know, and I can understand that being growing on your ego a bit. You've dropped everybody. It ain't broke, don't fix it. All this, hey, hit him with the right. But like Lennox Lewis pointed out, which was a good point he made, the punch stats didn't even add up. So that means he wasn't even throwing the shots that he normally threw. And to my recollection, I thought, this is what's my prediction. He's going to be smaller, therefore he's going to be more agile. But I'll say this, just thinking about it. Not to prepare him to the great Roy Jones at all, but I do have to mention Roy Jones Jr., when he went up in weight, even though he was moving to different weight classes and heavyweight is just heavyweight, when he got to the heavyweight division, he was the heaviest he ever was. And he had added this weight on, time after time, over time. And then when he went back to fight Tarver, he didn't seem like the same guy, okay? Because he stripped a lot of muscle away. And if you can remember Deontay Wilder, he was broader in the shoulders. I don't know about the legs. I think the legs were always flaco delgado, skinny as shit. But he was bigger up here. In fact, he almost had like a little pot belly. I'm like, yeah, man, maybe you need to lay off the beef or whatever you on it or whatever. But he definitely had increased muscle mass, okay? So, he has to strip. So to go from 238 to 213, that's a big jump, bro. You know what I mean? That's over 20 pounds, damn near 30, that he went bad past. Okay, and then when you lose fat, you're gonna lose muscle too. But it depends on how he lost that weight. In the third Fury fight, he was big, but he was slow, so he was too big. But maybe Lennox has a point. Maybe he's just too small because he stripped that weight down. We don't know how that weight came off of him. You know what I mean? I don't know how that came. Was it stress? And was he fasting? You know what I mean? But it's gone. So he may not be as powerful as he was because your body has to adapt to the weight it's at with muscle, fluids, all types of things are considered and involved when you do lose weight or gain weight. You have to be, if you just totally just lost all your weight, you're going to be weak. Look at Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz got weaker because he was losing this weight and his body couldn't acclimate to the weight that he was in and get all his levels and his strengths and everything else to that level because he wasn't accustomed to being that size. Okay, so maybe Lennox has a point. But Deontay Wilder, I think he needs to come back. And it probably was a money grab. And you have to really take into consideration, Wilder is not like those other guys. He wasn't like Tyson Fury. He didn't make that money he made good money on maybe a couple fights. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? Fury 2 and Fury 3. Everything else was pretty much bullshit. You know what I mean? He got the $10 million for fighting Dominic Breazeale when he went back to Showtime. Then Showtime dropped him. But then what else? Those two fights. Well, he had businesses, he has other endeavors, and then he gets knocked out in 2021, but he didn't fight none that year. Then there was almost 2 years he was off. So between Tyson Fury 2 and Tyson Fury 3, that was damn near 2 years. Okay, then he gets knocked out in 2021. Did I say 2020 and 2021. He gets knocked out in 2021. And then in fact, I know I'm going to hear that in the comments. And then, in fact, he waited a whole nother year and then fought Helenius. I don't think he got paid a lot of money. So maybe it was about the money. Then a whole nother year later, which was last year in 2023, he gets offered a bunch of money and he may not have been ready. Let's hope he wasn't ready. That's the only thing that I could think of right now. Let's hope he wasn't ready. But then it's like, okay, don't front, don't brag, be all brash like, oh, I'm this and that. No, bro, you're just a fighter that really doesn't have a lot of skill like you thought. You have a powerful right hand, but I think they have to tweak some stuff in the camp of Wilder to make sure he's prepared. See, the saddest thing to any fighter, if you're not prepared, if you're not ready, if something's not working for you. So in this point, maybe he needs to get about 220. He needs to add about 6 or 7 pounds, or whatever weight he's in, he needs to be able to move. He needs to be able to punch, and he has to have strength. Okay, so, a weak fighter can't really do much. And he might have just been weak. And in fact, when he was 209, he had what? The flu or something like that, right? He was coming off the flu. So he did lose a lot of weight. Okay, but there was a reason for that. That wasn't just him coming in at 209 just because he was at 209. No, so I don't know what was going on with him being 213. So they need to, I think this needs to happen with Wilder. He needs a strengthening conditioning coach and he needs a nutritionist. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what he needs. And they need to sit down without the ego, without all that bullshit, without all the ass kissing. I think they just need to sit down and be like, look, listen, if you want to continue in the sport of boxing, you know what I mean? We have to analyze what's wrong and what could help you and what will work with you. What could we add or what could we take away? That's what they need to do. You know what I mean? But I do think, it was a money grab. I agree with Lennox now because maybe he wasn't ready. He just talked shit like he was. However, he needed the money. I think he needed that money because, again, you got these lull times, you go a year, then another 2 years, and then, you know what I mean? Then a whole nother year later. So these are long layoffs, okay? Money goes fast, especially when you're spending that cash. Bars. This is true, people. So, yeah, it only goes down when you're not making more. He says, well, I'm making this and that. I think if that was the case, he wanted that opportunity because he wanted that damn moolah. And then if he's supposed to make 10 million flat, 10 million these days, oh yeah. That's a nice re-up. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Lennox Lewis stating that Deontay Wilder only took that fight for a money grab. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!